Recently, in Kambosos news, Devin Haney accepts George Kambosos' lowball offer, the same offer that he said that he offered to Vasily Lomachenko, a guy that he says that he respects so much. But if you respect him so much, then why was you ready to pay him so little? Or did you just change the numbers when it came to Devin Haney? More than likely, that is the case. Okay. Now, Kambosos has came up with all kind of reasons not to fight this guy, and how he needs to sell his chains, how he needs to fear a 19-hour flight, this, that, and the third. And then on top of all the insults to injuries, this dude's going to tell him that he has 3 days to make a decision. That's a sure sign. Anytime you give somebody a time limit, you can almost guarantee when he said, I want to handle this undisputed business, I want to go straight for Devin Haney. When you give a guy 3 days and give the other guy months upon months to come up with an agreement, then it's obvious that you don't want to fight Devin Haney. So this is my suggestions to Devin Haney. Not only is this my suggestion, this is my request. Okay? I believe that Devin Haney should beat his worth out of George Kambosos. That means what you can't get on that check, you take out on his flesh when you get inside that ring. I want to see an ass whooping from beginning to end. Beat the literal shit out of this dude. Beat the shit out of him for the disrespect. Beat the shit out of him for not recognizing you as a champion. And beat the shit out of him for lying. Point blank and period. And most importantly, beat the shit out of him for all these bigot, racist ass fans who don't want to see an undisputed fight but claim they love boxing, but don't want to see Devin Haney fight because they claim that he's so-called boring or pillow-fisted. Let me tell you something. If Devin Haney was so pillow-fisted, then why are so many people avoiding a pillow-fisted fighter? That's what I want to know. Okay, yeah, we know he doesn't hit the hardest and this, that, and the third, but neither did Tyson Fury for the long time. And if you remember, one of people's main complaints or main detractor from Vasily Lomachenko is Vasily Lomachenko don't have a lot of power. I remember when I did a video complimenting the shit out of Vasily Lomachenko, and I said the only thing is that he don't got no power. Every person in the world got fucking upset about that shit. Okay? So if he's such a pillow-fisted fighter, go ahead and knock his ass out. All right? There should be no problem with doing that. But the point is, nobody wants to give this kid a shot. And the only person that told the truth about why nobody wants to give this kid a shot was said, believe it or not, by Eddie Reynoso. Now, if you don't know what Eddie Reynoso said, Eddie Reynoso came out and said that Black American fighters are hard to fight. They have a difficult style. They're tough to beat. I'm pretty sure Eddie Reynoso is receiving some blowback from these comments. I'm pretty sure that he's even getting death threats. But now you can understand why George Kambosos didn't want to fight Devin Haney, why Vasily Lomachenko didn't want to fight Devin Haney, why Oscar Valdez doesn't want to fight Shakur Stevenson, why Jojo Diaz didn't want to fight Devin Haney, because what Eddie Reynoso said is a fucking fact. And given the fact that he's the trainer / manager of Canelo Alvarez, that gives more credence to what he's saying than anything else, because the moniker with Canelo Alvarez is that he avoids black fighters. And here is his trainers saying that black fighters are the hardest to fight. So it's no secret. No reason for anybody to get upset for what something Eddie Reynoso said. I didn't say the shit. That's something Eddie Reynoso said, but he only said something that we all know. But people have a hard time admitting, because it's something about giving these black fighters credit. You know what? It's not just fighters. It's anything. Whether they have a hard time giving you credit for what you contribute in boxing, and they have a hard time admitting what you contributed to America and to human history. Period. Boxing is a reflection of society, always have been and always will be. Okay? So with that being said, if Devin Haney hears this, I want him to take his pound of flesh of worth and beat the shit out of George Kambosos. Turn that boy into a highlight reel. Period. Just simply off the fucking disrespect. Okay? Now, we all know if that happens, people are still not going to be satisfied with it. At least when I judged people, I gave them the opportunity to be able to persuade me or change my mind. Okay. And how do you know that? By if you just simply look at my body of work. There's times that I talk shit about Tank, and as you can see, I'm a big supporter of Tank. I do understand what's going on with him. You know, at one point in time, huge Canelo fan. He showed me what he showed me, and now I feel how I feel about him. We all know that. You know, I was a big critic of Deontay Wilder, still is a big critic of Deontay Wilder. But what he did inside the ring with Tyson Fury, the man won my respect. Period. So even if I talk about a fighter, it's dependent on what they do and what they show me. It's not set in stone whether I think you're this and whether I think you're that. Give them the opportunity to be able to prove you wrong about what you say about them. We can even take Errol Spence, because currently I guess Errol Spence fans is upset with me. I don't know why. You guys must have missed the video where I said that you need to give Errol Spence credit for taking a fight like this, because most in his position would not do what he is doing. They wouldn't come off injuries or layoff fighting the competition that he has fought, coming off an injury or a layoff. Y'all must have forgot about that fucking video. But fanboys getting their fucking feelings. You know, but when it comes to George Kambosos, he's been a disrespectful lying weasel from top to fucking bottom. And ain't no way of getting around it. And it's messed up that the only way somebody like Devin Haney could have got a shot, a war had to break out in order for this kid to get a shot. Do you know how fucked up, pathetic, sad, and disgusting that is? And even then, he's trying to only give him 3 days, and then on top of that, he's trying to fucking lowball. You know, but when you want to be the man, you're going to have to, you know, you're going to have to make some sacrifices. So for whatever you suffer there, or feel discomfort, or even if you uncomfortable on that plane, take that shit out on George Kambosos. That'll be something I'll be especially tuning into. And this is one thing that people are not saying. Okay, I guarantee you that Kambosos versus Devin Haney will have more eyes on it than Kambosos versus Vasily Lomachenko. Nobody has said that, but that's a fact. Okay, because the elements is there, and the elements in which they love. Because since this is a prejudice ass sport, you know, just look at the two pent against each other. They have the right complexion to make the perfect kind of formula to get the results, to get eyes on the fight. That's how you know this fight is bigger than a Vasily Lomachenko versus George Kambosos. But nobody never said that. But it's supposed to be about money. It's supposed to be about this. Everybody came up with every excuse in the world. And this is what I'll end this on, and I'll keep saying it. The reason why what I say stands out, because I originally am not a Devin Haney fan. I'm still not big on Devin Haney. I think Devin Haney is a great fighter, but as far as what attracts me, or catches my eye, or what I really like the most, he doesn't fit my flavor. It doesn't mean that he's not good. It doesn't mean that he's boring. It doesn't mean that he can't fight. It doesn't mean none of that. It's just you have some fighters you like watch fighting, and some fighters you don't. Some fighters you favor more, and some fighters you don't. Well, that's what it's like for Devin Haney. But I've never once denied his skill. I've never once, because I'm not a fan of him, say I don't want to see him fight somebody. So that's how I know what's the grassroots problem of seeing Devin Haney fight. And I'll keep saying that over and over again. You are not talking to a Devin Haney fan or fanboy. You're talking to a boxing fan, but not a fanboy. And if you're a boxing fan, then you will be just like me. You may be critical of them, yes, but you still want to see good fights. And if you are a boxing fan, who in the fuck don't want to see undisputed? When was the last time you even had an undisputed lightweight champion? So why wouldn't I want to see that? That's good for boxing. But y'all know what time it is. But I hope Devin Haney beat every inch out of that Australian that he can. You know? And also, let me put this on the wood right now. Okay? Because Team Haney ain't gonna tell you about it if it happens. But when he goes to Australia, do not be surprised if you hear a lot of racism coming from the Australian fan. Oh, I know about Australia. You know, because I always wanted to go to Sydney, Australia. I think it's a beautiful city, you know. And being that I know a lot of people who went to Sydney, Australia, of course, I inquire and I ask about things, naturally, you know. And some of them being Australian themselves will tell me what kind of temperature it is over there. And they told me about most of them Australians over there, okay? And I know the history of Australia. So don't be surprised if you hear any remnants of how racist the fans was towards Devin Haney. I'm just putting it out there because most ain't gonna say this shit. But I hope Devin Haney sees the moment, and don't be surprised that right after he beats the snot out this kid, that he's still not gonna get his credit. They're still gonna say the fight was boring. They're probably gonna say he got a gifted decision or whatever and whatnot. So know this: no matter how bad he beats him, they're still gonna be reluctant to give him credit. But at the end of the day, it's not gonna matter because the kid is gonna be undisputed, and that'll be another champion with a color that they don't like, which will further irritate them and make their stomach spin. And I'm all for that at the end of the day. Anyways, that's my thoughts on this, and I'm out.